Stock market experts from around the country predicted an up week. Our panel's consensus is for a down week ahead. Several of our panelists cite fears of increasing interest rates. But panelist Al Frank, a Santa Monica-based newsletter publisher, predicts there's more to the summer rally ahead.
The recent rally began in a deep bearishness just before the Memorial Day holiday. It's based upon under-owning of stocks by institutions and individuals, increased corporate profits, better money supply, and a strong dollar. It has a long way to go and should continue on for maybe 20% more this year.
This past week, as the market hit a post-October high, for the first time, the New York Stock Exchange and the Chicago Merc took joint action to restore confidence. They agreed to a circuit breaker mechanism which would halt trading on both exchanges if the Dow Jones Industrials dropped 250 points in one session. But that wasn't the only step taken to bolster the market. Steve?
Sandy, the SEC this past Thursday finally acted on its one share, one vote rule. The commission made it almost impossible for a company to take voting rights away from existing stockholders and still have a market for its stock. The commission approved a new rule that says no domestic securities market, including the national over-the-counter market, is allowed to trade shares of a company that takes away or restricts voting rights of existing stockholders. There are, of course, exceptions, and companies may still issue new stock that carries no vote. One reason why this is so important is that over the past few years, a number of companies have taken voting rights away from their stockholders as a means of fighting off takeovers. So now the takeover artists ought to be pleased as punch. Sandy?
And Steve, one of the people who lobbied long and hard for the SEC's action is this week's Business World guest. When we come back, we'll talk to shareholder organizer T. Boone Pickens. World guest is the founder of the United Shareholders Association, a group which promotes shareholders' rights. This spring, that group won some key battles, winning several corporate proxy fights to ban green mail and eliminate so-called poison pills, steps that would make it tougher for corporations to block takeovers, as well as this past week's SEC ruling protecting shareholder rights. The chairman of Mesa Petroleum, T. Boone Pickens, joins us today from Anchorage, Alaska. Mr. Pickens, the victory you described as a great victory, but the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, William Proxmire, called it legally unauthorized, and Chairman John Dingell of House and Energy in the House says he wished the SEC had come up with a better rule. Who's right, them or you?
Well, I agree with John Dingell. I wish we had come up with a better rule, but Sandy, this is clearly a victory for stockholders in this country, and I think that it's going to double our membership in the United Shareholders Association. We have gotten tremendous response from this, and it's not exactly what you wanted, but it's vastly superior to what Senator Proxmire had in mind for stockholders in America.
Briefly, what more did you want the commission to do?
Well, I would have liked to even roll back the one share, one vote and make all companies go to one class common stock, not allow future companies to have two classes of common stock as they go public. But I never believed that that was doable. And so overall, on balance, I'd say that United Shareholders Association feels we definitely had a big victory, and we're satisfied.
Recently, Carl Icahn got defeated at Texaco in his battle to get some people on the board. The Coniston partners got defeated at Gillette. What does that say about the ordinary stockholder? Because they're the ones who carry the vote in those cases.
Sure they are. And, well, the ordinary stockholder and also, of course, the institutional stockholder who represents vast numbers of ordinary stockholders. But what we have is, from 1986, when the managements of corporate America decided they wanted to go with two classes of common stock and completely take control away from stockholders, to 1988, now we're talking about 2 years ago when this all started, the awareness level has come up tremendously in corporate America, and the stockholders do realize today that they have a responsibility they weren't aware of 2 years ago. I think the United Shareholders Association had a great part in bringing that awareness level up to where it is. But the future is so much brighter than it was 2 years ago. All of this makes, when you have stockholders that put the pressure on management to be accountable to stockholders, then we're going to have a more competitive corporate America is what's going to happen.
Yeah, but in these two cases, the stockholders said to management, all right, go ahead. They may be more aware, but they kept the management in. They didn't make any changes.
Yes, but give it another year or two, and you're going to see a different attitude by stockholders. Second, there's one more step we have to take now, is we've got to get a confidential vote in corporate America.
Yes.
There's only one company today with a 100% confidential vote, and that's Mesa Limited Partnership. And so we want to see that, and then you're going to see a different attitude by stockholders.
Okay, you brought up a question which we never get around to asking you because we're so busy asking you about United Shareholders. What about Boone Pickens? What are you doing next? Are you going to buy assets of Conoco? Are you going to move your corporate headquarters?
Well, not Conoco, Sandy. Yeah, Tenneco, right. We have said that we will be a bidder on the Tenneco, some of the Tenneco properties, and Tenneco is making they're offering 8 parcels to the industry, and we will be a bidder on at least 1 and maybe 2 or 3 of those parcels. And I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation as to what happens to Mesa, where Mesa goes, and what Mesa does. But we're, you know, as you know, we've been located for a long time in a little town in West Texas. And it's there are other conveniences at different places. We've said that we would not move from that West Texas location unless it was for good economic reasons. And we still stick with that. We have no plan to move, but on the other hand, we're not turning our back on any kind of deals that would be made available to us.
Thanks very much for joining us once again on Business World. Thanks very much. And when we come back, capital spending. U.S. companies pour on the fuel to drive the economy.
I am concerned about you. Your reaction